Ryan Gilder and Joe Spyrick with your call for tonight's game. Welcome to the Sports Desk. I'm Josh Rising here with you for your post-game scores and highlights from tonight's matchup between Delta and Rifle. Taking a look at some scores from the rest of your 3A playoff bracket. As mentioned, right now, your game right now here on the team is Rifle hosting number 16 Erie. It is 15-0 at halftime. Let's go ahead and get you set up for the game later on our sister station KNZZ AM 1100 CSU football. We'll be bringing you that game here in about 32 minutes from now is when we begin pregame coverage. Again, if you want to catch that game, listen to our sister station KNZZ AM 1100. And the season for Colorado continues to get worse as we do have a final now from Tucson, Arizona, as the Arizona Wildcats were looking to get a win on homecoming day. Arizona gets the win over Colorado 56-31. Colorado drops to 1-9 on the season as Arizona goes to 6-4. They're now bowl eligible on the season.
Are you kidding me? Unbelievable. The only time you'll ever root for the Chargers is in a game like this, because you know what? They beat the Ravens. You got yourself a little cushion. Now the pressure's all on the Broncos to go out there and win this upcoming weekend and get ready for Baltimore, because that game could decide.
Don't forget Oakland squeezed in there. That's a Thursday night game on December 6th.
I think a lot of people probably forgot about that game.
Deja, I mean, you've seen Connor Wood out there in practice. I mean, he can practice with the team because he's a transfer, right? I mean, he can still practice. Nick Hirschman, Burnett, you've seen him out there as well.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen all these guys.
And you're talking about, CU looking for that next guy that can lead this program. Do you see right now on the roster any one of these guys that can help lead this program?
I see a lot of guys on the roster with potential.
Throughout the entire week, everyone, including myself, was believing that it was going to be Ronnie Hillman starting for the Broncos. And an hour before kickoff, lo and behold, next thing you know, every Bronco fan is just falling off the rocker and seeing the reports coming out of Noshawn Moreno moving from the 4th spot on the depth chart up to starting this week. It was a very big surprise. Noshawn Moreno, this was his last opportunity. This game was his last opportunity to show what he had for the Broncos. And if he didn't produce like he did yesterday, he may not be on the roster right now, to tell you the truth. 20 carries for 85 yards was enough for him to save face and for him to stay on the roster. He actually did pretty well, too, in the passing game. 4 catches for 26 yards. He looked more like a threat out of the backfield as a receiver than he did as a runner.
Joshua, did you feel the same way that Dave does basically for the most part in terms of McGahee's performance?
Yeah, I do. I could be with John Fox. He's always been known to have that, to run that power back in his offense. And Willis McGahee, I think he was a good signing for the Broncos. For me, he reminds me a lot of Stephen Davis when he came over to Carolina and he helped the Carolina Panthers make it to the Super Bowl. That was the one thing they had.
That's the Wayback Machine there.
Yeah.
Stephen Davis.
He was a staple of that running attack down there in Carolina.
Here's my thing, okay? I don't understand how David Stern, who has control over the Hornets, can let this whole these talks progress, get to the point of actually having it set up. You already have 3 teams that are agreeing to the trade. You get to David Stern, and he says, "I'm going to veto it." If you have control of the team, why didn't you shoot this down in the first place?
I think part of the problem is their offensive coordinator, Cam Cameron, and the play calling. Ray Rice went absolutely nuts in the third quarter against the Steelers. Not a single rush in the fourth quarter. Went away completely from their bread and butter.
Cam went dead, brain dead, huh?
He must have. I mean, my goodness. If it's not broken, don't fix it, right? They need to get the running game going, especially before they get into this game against Baltimore, because if that running game is not working, Baltimore is not going to respect it, and they're going to pin their ears back, and they're going to go full court press on Peyton Manning, and that's going to put a lot of pressure on that passing game to really – that game is going to be live or die through Peyton Manning's arm.
Exactly.
The depth of the defensive line has looked very good this year. I've got to say, the versatility they've got now, too, on the defensive line, the schemes that Jack Del Rio's coming up with. Not saying that Derek Wolfe is a missing piece. They're 0-5 in Baltimore, and the last matchup was in 2010, 31-13 loss, I believe is what it was.
This is a different team, though.
Yes, it's true. But one player that completely shred up the Broncos in that game, Ray Rice, 130-plus yards. That team ran for 223 on the Broncos that day. I don't know if they go back to the ground attack, they could have a field day. Even Ray Lewis, though, the guy's like an ageless wonder. But the thing is with Ray Lewis, what I've seen with him though is he's realized that he's got to change the way he plays football now, going from back in the early 2000s and the 90s, where it was all about smash mouth football and running the ball, first down, second down, throwing the ball on third down. Now it's all about passing. And Ray Lewis realized that at his size, he couldn't play with those guys in the spread-style offenses. He realized he needed to slim down. And now that's an advantage that running teams have against him, is that he doesn't have that size to be a run stuffer up the middle now, and teams are taking advantage of that. And we saw it earlier on in the season with the Ravens.